Vaheguru Ji Ka Khalsa, Vaheguru Ji Ki Fateh. Hukamnama today is from Rag Bihagada by Sri Guru Nanak Dev Ji on Ang 553. Vaheguru Ji Shalok Mardaanaa Pehla Kal Kalwali Kaam Mad Manua Piman Har Krodh Katori Mohe Pari Pी Lava Ahankar Kal Kalwali Kaam Mad Manua Piman Har क्रोध कटोरी मोहे परी पीलावा अहंकार मजलस कूड़े लब की पी होए खुआर करणी लाहण सत गुड़ सच सरा कर सार गुण मंडे कर सील के ओ सर्म मास आहार गुरमुख पाइए नानका खादा जाहे बेकार मर्दाना पहला काया लाहण आप मद मजलस तृष्णा तात मनसा कटोरी कूर भरी पीलाए जमकाल इत मद पीतै नानका बहुते खटियह बेकार ज्ञान गुड़ सालाह मंडे भौ मास आहार नानक एहो भोजन सच है सच नाम आधार काया लाहण आप मद अमृत दिस की धार सद संगत स्यों मिलाप होए लिव कटोरी अमृत भरी पी कटह बेकार पौड़ी आपे सोर नार गण गंधर्वा आपे खट दर्शन की बाणी आपे सेव शंकर महेशा आपे गुरमुख अकथ कहानी आपे जोगी आपे भोगी आपे सन्यासी फिर बिबाणी आपे नाल गोसट आप बदेसै आपे सोड़ स्वरूप सियाणी आपना चोज कर वेखै आपे आपे सबना जिया का है जानी. Satguru Ji begins today's Shabad. Shalok Mardaanaa Pehla. This is a Shalok which is a conversation between Guru Nanak Dev Maharaj and Bhai Mardaanaa Ji, whereby Guru Nanak Dev Ji Maharaj is imparting spiritual wisdom onto Bhai Mardaanaa Ji. And in this entire Shabad, Satguru Ji uses a distillery of intoxicants as an example to reflect on the internal vices that mankind have. Kal kalwali kaam mad. Satguru Ji starts off the Shabad by saying, Kal kalwali. This dark age of Kali Yuga that we currently reside in, Maharaj Ji says that the virtues, the characters of all these attributes of Kali Yuga, all the people living in Kali Yuga, the attributes, the kalesh and everything in Kali Yuga is the distillery. Kaam mad, and kaam, which means sexual desire or lust, is that alcohol, wine or intoxicant that is served in this distillery. Manua Pivanhar, the mind is the person that actually goes in and partakes this intoxicant. Krodh Katori Mohe Pari. Maharaj Ji says in this distillery, the cups are that of anger. Mohe Pari, which is filled with emotional attachment. This is one meaning. A second meaning of the same line would be Krodh Katori Mohe Pari. Anger is the cup that is used to serve this intoxicant here, and emotional attachment is described as a surahi, which means a small pitcher or a flask, basically two instruments used to serve this intoxicant. Pilava ahankar. Maharaj Ji says that the person serving these drinks in this distillery is that of ego. Ego is the server of these intoxicants inside the distillery. Majlis koode lab ki. And the mind goes in and it has its drinking buddies in this distillery, and that is the company of falsehood and greed. Majlis means company. Koode, falsehood, and lab is from the word lob, which means greed. Pi hoye khwar. Satguru Ji says drinking of the mind in the company of falsehood and greed, what happens is eventually one gets ruined. Karani lahan sat ghod Now, after these few lines, Satguruji in the second half of this Shalok starts explaining what should be the right or the correct intoxicant that the mind should partake. Karani Lahan Sat Gud. Satguruji says that this distillery, instead of it being the traits, attributes, or characters of Kaljug, make it your good deeds. Your good deeds should be this distillery, Sat Gud. And the molasses that is used to make that wine or intoxicant sweet, use truth as your molasses. Sach Sara Karsar. And in this manner, what will happen is you will purchase, you will obtain the most sublime intoxicant of truth. Gona Mande Karasil Kyo. Now Maharaj Ji starts describing. Usually, what happened back in the day was when people consumed alcohol, they used to have snacks of food to go with it. And now Maharaj Ji describes that food that was traditionally eaten, which was that of bread, a bit of ghee spread across that bread, and some meat to go with it. Maharaj now compares that directly. Guna mande kar seal ke ho. Satguruji says, make your own good virtues that bread. Seal ke ho. And that ghee that was used across that bread back in the day, Maharaji says, seal, meaning your good conduct, should be the ghee. Sarmamas ahar. And instead of that meat that was used to being partaken back in the day with alcohol, Satguruji says, make modesty that meat. Gurmukh paye nanka khada jahe bekar. Now Maharaji says, look, by Mardaanaa ji, Satguruji explains that all these things, they're true intoxicant, they're true food that one should partake. This is only obtained when somebody becomes a Gurmukh, meaning someone that lives his life or her life in accordance to what the Guru says, and by doing so gets these intoxicant and this sublime meal. And Maharaji says, by partaking these meals, by partaking this sublime alcohol, this sublime intoxicant, what happens is your sins, they depart. Mardaanaa pehla kaya lahan aap mad majlis tisna taat. Now Guru Nanak Maharaj Ji further explains to Bhai Mardaanaa Ji by using the same examples in a slightly different way. Satguruji says, kaya lahan aap mad. This distillery is akin to this body. The human body is that distillery, and the wine, the intoxicant that is served in this distillery, is that of self-conceit or sense of I, the ego. Majlis trisna tahat. And the drinking buddies of the mind who partakes this intoxicant are all the countless desires that the mind harbors. Mansa katori kur pari. Now the cup that is used to serve this alcohol, this intoxicant in, Maharaji say it is all the mind's longing, which is overflowing with falsehood. Kur pari, pilaye jamakal, and the messenger of death. All these people, they are the ones serving this alcohol, this false intoxicant. It mad pita nanka bahte khatiya bekar. Maharaji says, by drinking in this false wine, what this means is by partaking in, by following all these negative vices of the mind, bahte khatiya bekar, one person then takes upon themselves many, many sins. Gyan gur salah mande pao mas ahar. Now Maharaj Ji goes back to the example of the food or snack that used to be taken with the alcohol or the intoxicants back in the day. Satguruji again reaffirms to Bhai Mardaanaa Ji, make spiritual wisdom the molasses that is added into the intoxicant to make it sweet. Salah mande, meaning that they sing the praises of God. The praises of God is akin to that bread. Pao mas ahar. And the meat that used to be partaken back in the day should be that of fear of God inside you. Nanak eho bhojan sach hai. And Guru Nanak Maharaj Ji says that this is the true food, this is the true nourishment for the spiritual seeker. Sach naam adhar. And let Vaheguru Ji's true name be your only support. Kaya, Lahan, Aap, Mad. Now Maharaj Ji says again further, if the human body is the distillery, then Aap Mad, instead of self-ego, self-conceit, Aap Mad here refers to self-realization. Look, if the human body is the distillery, then self-realization should be the wine, because then if you partake in this wine, this intoxicant, what happens is Amrit Tisakitar, a stream of nectar flows forth from this, and by partaking this, you will be immortal. Sat Sangat se mein laap hoye. Now, Maharaj Ji says that when you meet other spiritual seekers, other saints that are colored in the name of God, live katori amrit pari, this cup of love, your love that is akin to the cup that is used in the distillery, amrit pari, it becomes filled with this immortal nectar. Pi kata hai bekar. And when the soul or when the mind again and again relishes in this nectar, what happens is all countless sins and corruptions and demerits are then wiped away. Pauree, Ape, Sora, Nara, Gana, Gandharva. Maharaj Ji says that look, God is staging a play. He is himself all the demigods. He is himself in the form of humans. He is himself in the form of celestial singers, angels, Ape, Khat, Darsan Ki Bani, and he himself propagates his own knowledge, the knowledge of God, which is propagated through 6 schools of philosophies. Ape, Shiva, Shankara, Mahaysh. These are 3 names of the Trinity of deities that create, sustain, and then destroy the creation. Maharaj Sache Parsha says that he is himself playing all these roles. Ape, Gurmukh, Akatha Kahani, and he himself recites through the Guru, through a Gursikh who is attuned to the Guru's teachings. Regardless, he then describes that glories of him that are actually truly unspeakable. Ape, Yogi, Ape, Pogi. He himself in his play, what he does is, in one form he is a yogi, someone who refrains from these pleasures of the world, and in another form he is playing as the Pogi. Pogi refers to that person who is engrossed in all the sensual pleasures. Ape, Sannyaasee, Fira, Bebani. And he himself is a renunciate who has said no to all the desires, to all the comforts of the world, and roams around through the wilderness searching for God. Ape naal ghost aap upadesha. And he, being self-illuminated, he speaks with himself. He himself teaches his own being as he is self-illuminated. Ape sogar saroop sayani. And in true essence, for God is truly wise, truly beautiful, truly above all. Apna choj kar vekha ape. And seeing his own play, what he does is he looks upon his own play while being a part of that play himself in different forms, at the same time being aloof from the play at the same time. Maharaj Sache Pasha explained that God is such a player that he plays and then he himself watches it from afar. Ape sabna jiya pa hai jani. And he himself is the inner knower of all beings as he is the creator of all. Ape naal ghost aap upadesha. Ape sugur saroop sayani. Apna choj kar vekha ape. Ape sabna jiya ka hai jani. Vaheguru Ji ka Khalsa, Vaheguru